So guys, if you're watching this, one day ago, well, yesterday, I beat the Flawless. I was actually going to record the video yesterday, but I didn't have time to, and I also kind of forgot. So this is like right after me recording the Hypersonic video, and right after me beating Hypersonic. And, yeah, I'd say the Flawless is probably one of my worst experiences at a level ever. Even though I beat it in like 2 days, um, with the first day, kind of just being more like learning level, and I spent 3 hours playing it, and it was horrible. And then the day after, it was the day I beat it, but I died at 99 2 times. I had the second half like a million times. It was just so hard. I thought, yo, the Flawless, it's gonna be easy. It's a ship heavy levels, and I'm good at my best game with ship. Turns out, it wasn't really that easy. I think it's actually harder than Hypersonic, to be honest, but because Hypersonic at least has some fine gameplay that isn't like janky. The Flawless, from one of the jankiest gameplay I've ever played. And I actually played it on a start pause that lied to me. The level ended with a double spike in my start pause. I was legit thinking of beating it on the start pause, like usual, but then that window becomes a legitimate completion because the level does not end with a double spike. And when I died 99, I was like, oh, okay, let's beat it on the start. Well, let's beat it in the start pause, but at this point, I'm not going to be wanting to play a level with a triple spike at the end. But eventually I did beat it, fucking finally. And actually, my game crashed. Because what happened was I closed Geode, the little Geode command prompt. My game closed and it did not save the progress for the Flawless. It still says I got 74%. So I gotta wait for Geode to come back so I can come in and instant complete the Flawless. You might be complaining that's cheating. I already have a completion video on my channel, so I already beat it. I'm just waiting for Geode to come back, and I'm not rebeating the Flawless. I will guarantee you that I will never rebeat that fucking trash. It is horrible. It is a garbage level I hate. But I'm not going to say much about it. I don't want to say a lot about it because I just hate the Flawless. But it's, just like one of the worst extremes I ever played. It looks horrible. It plays like shit. Probably the most boring pre-jump I've ever played. Even more boring than Blade of Justice. Because at least it looks good. And legit, the only reason why this level is a little bit better than Blade of Justice, which is currently, in my opinion, the worst extreme demon in the game, it's legit because it's easier than Blade of Justice. Like, a lot easier than Blade of Justice. That level's like, Blade of Justice like, really difficult. Which really what made it so unfun and boring. Which is really what made me take like a 1 to 2 week break off of Blade of Justice. And was outside of AQ was probably one of the longest, probably the longest time ever took me to beat an extreme team, like the second longest, I think. Like, actually, Bloodbath beats it out because I actually initially dropped Bloodbath for a bit. Same thing went for Cataclysm, took even longer. Took like 3 months if you include the break time. But if you don't, I'd say Blade of Justice, honestly, was probably the longest time it took me to beat alone. But this ain't a Blade of Justice video. Talk about the Flawless. Again, I beat it in like a short 2 days. Wasn't really that bad. Hypersonic only took me 1 day. That was because I already knew how to play the level. At this point, I just needed to get the muscle memory back and then play from zero. Which I did beat it after like, I think maybe around, if I'm correct, like an hour and a half of me playing the level, including from playing the start pause. The Flawless, fun fact, is the lowest attempt count for an extreme demon, which honestly surprises me. It surprised me it took me that short of attempts. Now, it's more like 4,500, 4,000 maybe, if you include the lost attempts. But it doesn't really increase by much. And so I regret closing that Geode command prompt because I would have been able to tell you the full attempt count. Like Hypersonic, I think is like my highest attempt count for an extreme demon that is still under 10k because it's like 400, 700 attempts higher than Allegiance, which Allegiance took me way longer than Hypersonic. And Allegiance, honestly, I find to be easier than Hypersonic. Well, actually harder. Hypersonic at least gets really consistent. Allegiance is just like broken and shit. But I started the Flawless actually all the back, even back in December. So I wanted to start playing the Flawless a bit. Didn't like it, so I dropped it for a bit. And this year I was thinking of just completely scrapping it off the list, like I did Sacoup and Hell. But like Sacoup and Hell, I didn't scrap it off the list. Now, hopefully, I don't do that again with Sacoup and Hell. Because, like, Sacoup and Hell is such a bad level, but I need to do it so I can get good and beat levels like Low Death, Quantum Processing, especially. And even, well, not Black Blizzard, really, the wave parts are really only in duels. I said the ending, but that's more like spam, but like easy ass spam. That's just there for like nerve control. And yeah, let's move on to analyze the difficulty of the Flawless. So yeah, this is my difficulty analysis of the Flawless. Um, so let's get started because I want to end this video as quick as I can. So I don't want to talk about the Flawless. This first wave, I despise it. I hate it. It's legit one of the hardest parts of our level if you count alone. It's just really bad. I don't need to explain why. This cube is a goddamn cutscene. I don't know why we need a goddamn cutscene in this level. We got this ship. I don't particularly find that bad. It's just annoying because the teleporting objects. This cube is a pain in the ass to learn, so I didn't know what the fuck to do. But eventually, once I knew what I was doing, it was really easy. This ship honestly isn't that bad, except for that gap. That gap is like the only hardest part about the only hard part about the ship, and outside of that, it's easy. This UFO, awkward. I don't like it. This ball, I hate it because you can click it. There's this click. I hate this click. You can click it too early, but click it too late. But it's legit like a few frame difference. That is like insane. But outside of the ball is actually kind of easy. Outside of that. This ship, easy. There's no issues with it. This ship, honestly, isn't the hardest part of the level. People are kind of overrating it. But honestly, I think it's the 50% cube. That's the hardest. Well, actually, maybe not. It could be the one with all the triples, but at least it's just buff triples compared to really hard ship gameplay. Like, this ship, I think maybe is like the second or third hardest part. Let me think. I'd say the 50% cube might be the hardest. I don't think the weird ass ship transition at like, well, 55, 56, I don't think that's the hardest part because at the end of the day, it's just some simple ass straight fight, ain't like complicated or anything. But the reason I think the 50% cube is harder than this ship part is honestly because the cube never became consistent, while the ship part became widely consistent, except for this straight fly and these orbs, and also the scap and these pink orbs. But after this is the hardest part of the level in my opinion. I died there so much. This, I hate this 5 spike jump. Is legit technically a buff triple if you think about it, because there's like a little mini spike over there. I hate these pink orbs. I hate them so fucking much. This green orb, you have to hit the green orb late and hit the pink orb late and then buffer this pink orb so the transition is at least consistent. That's legit what I gotta do, bro. And like really, and I click very quickly on the ship too. This robot's easy. This is when the level starts to become kind of easy. This ball, I do not like these timings in this ball. This cube is one of my least favorite parts of the level. First of all, they copy and paste the same club set monster over and over again, which sucks. This triple technically is a buff triple, so why even place it in a level? Why? Then there's an easy ass robot with 3, I like to call them the 3 jumps of hell in this level. 3 buffed triples. Yep, you are hearing that correctly. 3 buff triples, and I did the math, and I looked at them, and analyzed their hitbox. They are indeed buffed triples. Yep, that is correct. You got an easy-ass green orb, but an easy-ass UFO with a weird transition into ship, and you got a buff double spike. Like, this level never fucking stops with the buff doubles and triples, bro. And after that's when the level becomes nerve control mode. It's really easy from there. It's just nerve control. This ship's easy. Not really finding issues with it. This ship, yeah. This wave, easy. This UFO, easy. This duel, I hate this yellow orb click, and that's really it. I gotta say about the duel. This ship and wave duel is easy. It's just spam. This wave part is just a whole bunch of spam. It's just easy. This ship, surprised I never died there from 0. It's actually really hard. And then here's the last triple. I don't know how I died there twice, but it's probably just the nerves, and also it's just really weird looking. And I actually had to change my icons to white because the level's like entirely red. It's kind of like having green icons for Erebus, where it basically becomes a lot harder. But it's a difficulty analysis for the flawless. As my wish, as I wanted, I'll end the video quickly. So I'll see you guys on Monday. But me starting to do Deception Dive. So see ya.